Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swami Tapaharine. Om. So, last two classes we saw how Swami Vivekananda, born as Narendranath Datta, born very brilliant, which showed up in his naughtiness, hyperactiveness, and all that. In his childhood, blessed with prodigious memory, which was very visible, and very active. And as he beautifully grew into teenage, adolescent age, we saw how he became more serious, very studious, adept in music, great in sports, and thanks to his father and mother, he got the best of environment to become almost, you can say, like a perfect life, perfect youth which he had. And so naturally, a very brilliant youth who is thinking youth, and with all the values imbibed into him by his mother, he started wondering what is the purpose of life, what should life be, what is good, what is bad, is there a universal standard for morality? And he sought various Western and Eastern philosophies, studied, and the quest took him to multiple people, and he started searching for someone who has seen God. And with the question of have you seen God, he approached several of the people in Calcutta and the prominent spiritual religious people. He couldn't get any satisfactory answer. And at the same time, there was this pressure from his family to get him married, and he decided that marriage was not the right thing, at least at that moment, for him. So he resisted all uh, efforts by his parents to get him married, and with this frustration, he was this with all these things happening in his life, in his mind. Now, opposite to his house was the house of Surendranath Mitra, who was a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. So Surendranath Mitra, Ramchandra Datta, Ramchandra Datta was his relative. Now they were quite close to him, both of them. And as a youth, he used to go and discuss with these people his problems, his thinking, and like he had a circle of elders whom he used to interact with his questions and discussions and all that. And one day when Sri Ramakrishna was visiting Surendranath Mitra's house, Naren, who was the lead singer of the Brahmo Samaj, he was invited to the house of Surendranath Mitra for singing, and he sang a few songs, and Sri Ramakrishna immediately recognized him as his future disciple, and Sri Ramakrishna asked him to come to Dakshineshwar to meet him. But Naren did not take it very seriously at that time. And 1 month later, so the first meeting happened in November 1881. And 1 month later, in December 1881, when the pressure for marriage was quite high at home, Naren went to Surendranath Mitra and discussed with him, this is what my parents are saying, And at the time also Ramchandra Datta was there, and Manmohan Mitra also was there. So now they said, like, see, and they talked to him, why do you want to not get married? What is the problem in getting married? We are all married. And then he said, like, I want to seek God. I want to lead spiritual life. Then they suggested, like, if you are so serious about leading a spiritual life, then you should go and meet Sri Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar. And now you have this question, you have this confusion, should I get married or not? And maybe you should talk to him and he can give you some suggestions. So this was the talk which happened, and with Surendranath Mitra and Ramchandra Datta. And then in December, one day, they decided to go to Dakshineshwar to take Naren to Dakshineshwar. And on the way, they picked up Manmohan Mitra also. So Naren with three of them went to Dakshineshwar. And that is where the first meeting of Narendranath with Sri Ramakrishna happened at Dakshineshwar. Now, before we get into the details, like I think we need to have a flashback. It will be good to get a glimpse into the life of Sri Ramakrishna so that we can understand better and appreciate better. So, dealing with the life of Sri Ramakrishna is a very, very difficult topic, and by his grace, let us see how much we can get to a feeling of Sri Ramakrishna's life. So, Sri Ramakrishna was born on February 18th, 1836 in Kamarpukur. Now, the way his parents landed up in Kamarpukur itself is a very interesting one, because that is not his parents' ancestral village. So Kshudiram Chattopadhyaya, Ramakrishna's father, he was a very devout person, very truthful person living in a village, and he had great respect among the villagers. And one of the landlords in that house, in that village, a very rich landlord, he was trying to do something illegal, and for that he wanted someone to bear a false witness. And knowing the reputation of Kshudiram of being a very truthful person, and everyone would believe whatever he says, he approached Kshudiram to give a false witness in his favor. And obviously, Kshudiram did not want to do that. But then this person was such a strong, powerful, wealthy landlord. And so he found that it is not safe for him to refuse to give a false witness. And also he did not want to violate his principles. And he realized, and he decided that sticking to truth is more important than anything else. And overnight, Kshudiram, with his wife and children, at the time Ramkumar was there. Ramkumar, the eldest child, was born, had born at that time. So they just packed up whatever they could carry with them and left their ancestral village with all the lands and everything which they had. They renounced everything just like that, and with meager belongings. And the Raghunath ji, the Rama whom they worshipped for over generations, with Raghunath ji, carrying Raghunath ji, and renouncing all the properties and the ancestral village. They left and came, and in Kamarpukur they had a distant relative, friend, so they came here. And here, knowing the reason why he has come here, and appreciating his truthfulness and his piety, and they provided the village of Kamarpukur. They provided him some land to do some agriculture, and they welcomed him and got him settled there. So the very coming to Kamarpukur itself was a great sacrifice done by Kshudiram for the sake of truth. And so that is the kind of family Sri Ramakrishna was born in. And they settled here, and you can see the picture here. That is the ancestral house. So in those days, okay, if you have, I think you should go and see Kamarpukur, Jairambati, the rural Bengal. So if it is a house will not be a single building. There will be a group of huts together, and one hut will be the kitchen, another hut will be the living room, another hut would be the bedroom. So basically, a house is basically a group of thatched huts with mud walls. So that is the typical setting. So the group of huts which you see, like that, is Sri Ramakrishna's house in Kamarpukur. And you can see there's a lake, and there's a Shiva temple. So where we'll come to that. So now they settled here in this village, and they lived here, and they were very, very devoted, and they wanted they were praying to God for a son. And Kshudiram had visited Gaya, and there he had a dream that the Lord said he will come and be born as his son. And the immediate reaction of Kshudiram, even in the dream, was, "Oh Lord, I am very poor. How can I take care of you? I don't have the means to take care of you if you come and be born in our house." He was happy with the blessing of the Lord, but then he was also worried that he won't be able to do full service to the Lord because he was poor. And the Lord said, "Don't worry, like whatever you give, that is enough for me. Don't worry about that." And meanwhile, at Kamarpukur, now this happened in Gaya, Vishnu Gaya, right? Vishnu Gaya, both Gaya, like so that is in Bihar. And here in Kamarpukur, Sri Ramakrishna's mother, she was here, and she was praying in this temple, which you can see here, the Shiva temple, and she found a light emerging from that Shiva, from the Shivalinga, and entering her womb, and she fainted. And when she came back when she was revived back, she said like she saw a light, and then she found herself carrying. So these were some of the incidents which happened. And soon after that, Sri Ramakrishna was born. And right from birth, like he was very active and very naughty, and he was a what do you call, a darling child to the entire neighborhood. Everyone loved him. And right from, just like his father, he was very, very truthful right from childhood. And let us see. Yeah. So, and there are again, like I recalled one incident yesterday, right? So when Sri Ramakrishna, when he was a small boy, when he was walking across a field, he saw dark rain-bearing clouds, below which a group of cranes were flying, and the beauty was so much overwhelming that he fell unconscious, full of emotion. And then that was his first spiritual experience. And another thing which happened was there was a there was a drama going on in the village for Shivaratri, and the actor who was supposed to act as Shiva was not. Suddenly, he fell ill and he couldn't be on the stage. So then they asked the young boy Gadadhar to take on the role. They dressed him up as Shiva and put him on the stage, and he got so lost in the role of Shiva that tears were streaming from his eyes, and he was completely unaware of the whatever was happening around, and he became unconscious. And then everyone saw him saw as if real Shiva himself had come, and then later he came back to consciousness. And his truthfulness, like those days were when caste discrimination was very, very strong. And there was Dani, who was a low caste woman, who used to be a midwife. So she helped a lot of ladies during their pregnancy to give birth to a child. And she also helped Shri Ramakrishna, Gadadhar's mother, to give birth. And she was a nani, like she was a nurse taking care of him during his helping his mother to take care of him during his first few years. And Gadadhar used to call her call Dani as mother. And then one day Dani said, Gadadhar, like you are calling me as ma as mother, but when you are 7 years old during your Upanayana, when the first bhiksha you have to offer, you will give only to your real mother and not to me. So she mentioned this as a casual remark. And Gadadhar said, like, no, Amma, like I will give to you only. I will consider you as my mother, and I consider you as my mother. And first bhiksha I will take from you only. And he had told when he was a small child, like maybe some 4 or 5 years old. And later, when the Upanayana ceremony happened, when the time came where he has to take his first bhiksha, people said, okay, take from your biological mother. And Gadadhar said, like, no, I will take from Dani. And because she was a low caste woman, everyone objected. And he said, like, no, I have promised her. And she is, I don't know about your caste and all, but she is my mother. She took care of me, and I have promised her to take my first bhiksha from her. And he was very adamant, and he took the first bhiksha from Dani. Now, this shows a lot of things, like even at a very young age of 5 years, or I don't remember exactly which year he got his Upanayana, but even at surely should be less than 7 years, right? So 5 to 7 years. So even at that young age, he was aware of the social discriminations. He was fighting against it. He was aware that it was not right. And he was aware of truthfulness. He was adamant for truth and sticking to the truth, like, and the courage to stand against the entire village to say, like, no, I will take my first bhiksha from Dani only. Like, so all these things are illustrated from his early life itself. And he was a great adept he had a very beautiful voice, a musical voice. He used to sing, he used to act, and he used to make images of gods and goddesses very beautifully. He was very artistic. And he was sent to school, and he refused. He said, I'm not interested in this breadwinning education. So he said he saw that the school was just will teach him uh, whatever is needed, the secular education, and he saw that the only purpose of this education is to earn money. And he said, I'm not interested in this education. And he was not did not go to school. And the small number of days he went to school, like that school is there. If you go to Kamarpukur, you can see all these places. You can see the school, this Shiva temple, Shri Ramakrishna's house, which is the place where he was born, which is now there's a shrine there. And so all the memories are there. And the mango tree which he planted, right? All those things are there. And so there are like this, there are a few significant things which happened. And after that, his father passed away. And so Ramkumar, his eldest brother, like he was quite old, elder to Sri Ramakrishna. So it's almost like a second father only, like a father only to him. And he had to support the family. So he moved to Calcutta for as a priest. And so before that, another significant thing is Kamarpukur is located like it's a village, but it is on the path from Gaya to Puri, right? So a lot of pilgrims used to go from Varanasi to Gaya, or I can say even from Prayagraj, right? So Prayagraj, Varanasi, Gaya, and then to Puri. So that was a very popular pilgrimage circuit. And Kamarpukur was between Gaya and Puri. So it always had a stream of pilgrims, sannyasis, monks, keep going to and fro. And Sri Ramakrishna had the fortunate circumstances to listen to them, to spend time with them. And he was almost illiterate. He could read barely. He could write a few words, but he was not literate enough to read big books. But he could read slightly and he could write slightly also. So he was kind of, you can say, almost illiterate. But though he was illiterate, he was highly educated. Like education and literacy are not the same. Now, just imagine, he was a priest. He used to do puja for Kali and various deities and everything. And he was illiterate, which means he cannot read the books and chant mantras. So all the mantras, all the puja, padati, everything, he should have it in his memory. Only then he can officiate as a priest, being illiterate. So which means like huge amount of stotras, mantras, chanting, everything he should have in his memory. Only then he can be a priest being illiterate. So which means like he was highly educated. And listening to the stories and the pravachanas which used to continuously keep happening in Kamarpukur, because the pilgrims and the sannyasis, the devotees used to halt at Kamarpukur for on their way from Gaya to Puri, and he had listened to all the scriptures from them, and he was a Shrutidari. Once he listens to anything, it gets into his memory. He had that capability, prodigious memory. Just once if he listens, that's it. It is in his memory. So he had listened to all scriptures, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, Adhyatma Ramayana, right, like Gita, everything he had listened to them, and everything he had in his memory, right? Because he had lived several years in Kamarpukur, listening to the pravachanas by all these pilgrims who passed Kamarpukur. So, from that point of view, like, he was highly educated, though illiterate, right? So, never tell we should never say Shri Ramakrishna was uneducated. No, he was highly educated, but almost illiterate, right? So, that was his exposure. See, he was already exposed to the entire uh, Hindu scriptures, and he was fully familiar with all the major texts of Hinduism. And with his prodigious memory, he knew everything by heart. And there's another illustration for his memory. I'll tell you is later when he was living in the Dakshineshwar temple. So there were the Holy Mother Sharda Devi and his women disciples, Golapma, Gaurima, and Yogenma, those people. And so once there was one very popular and drama troupe who was visiting Calcutta. They were putting a drama in Calcutta, and they wanted to go and watch it. But Sri Ramakrishna said, like, see, today it looks very nearby, but those days Calcutta was, even though it is just 4 kilometers, like, it was pretty far from Dakshineshwar. So you have to go by boat and come back by boat, and that the drama would end very late, and after that much time, difficult to get a boat to come back to Dakshineshwar. So Sri Ramakrishna said, like, no, if you go, then it will be difficult for you to come back to Dakshineshwar. So don't go. And they did not go. They stayed back. But then they were very upset. They were very sad. And Sri Ramakrishna, like, in the evening, he came, he saw they were upset. They said, like, he asked, what happened? Like, why are you so upset? So they said, like, see, this drama is happening there. We wanted to go there, and you asked us not to go. So we are here. We are feeling very bad that we are missing that drama. And Sri Ramakrishna, he said, oh, you are worried about that. Okay, let me tell you what happens in that drama. And the 1.5 or 2 hours drama, he enacted as a mono act. The entire drama, playing all the roles in that drama, singing all the songs, speaking all the dialogues exactly as in that drama it is done. The entire drama, all the roles, all the dialogues and songs and everything, he enacted as a mono act in front of this group of his devotees and disciples. And they were, and it was so beautiful and so nicely done. They were astonished. They said, like, how do you know this? Like, have you like this drama? Like, and then he said, yeah, this troupe had come once to Kamarpukur and performed this drama when I was a child, and I have watched it once. Now, this is the capability of Sri Ramakrishna. This is the kind of mind we are talking about here, right? When he was a child in Kamarpukur, this drama was played in his village, and he had watched it once. And 30 years later, he was able to enact the entire drama, speaking all the dialogues, singing all the songs of all the characters exactly as a mono act. Once he listens, it is there in his mind forever. Sutidari, we call it, right? That is the kind of memory he had. That is the kind of capability he had, right? Music, acting, and anything. It is just very impressionable mind. So that is what he carried. And in I would say like superhuman capabilities, like is not possible for ordinary human beings. So we all know about Vivekananda's memory and things, but Shri Ramakrishna was one level higher than Vivekananda actually. So now, so he moved to he. So Ramkumar, he went to Calcutta, and so he was officiating as the priest in lot of houses, and he wanted an assistant because like a lot of customers were coming, and he wanted someone. So he called for Gadadhar from the village, and Gadadhar moved to Calcutta with Ramkumar. And Ramkumar wanted to teach him something, but then Gadadhar was more focused on spiritual pursuits. But then he was helping his brother in as an assistant. He was never interested in seriously becoming a priest. But then he helped his brother. Now, when this was happening in Calcutta, there was this Dakshineshwar temple, which was built by Rani Rashmani. And Rani Rashmani, like she comes from a fishing background. She was not a Brahmin or a high caste woman. She was a low caste woman. And because of that, like though she was very devoted and very rich and a great administrator, and she was like Rani, like she lived like a Rani, but then she was of a low caste woman. So even though she had so lovingly and devotion and with full of devotion, she had built this entire Dakshineshwar temple, right? So here you can see the Kali temple, and then here there is in the that side you have the Radha Kantha temple, and this is the Nath Mandir, like this is where the music happens. And opposite to here, like it is not visible here, is the 12 Shiva temples, the Dwadasha Jyotirlingas, right? Like so there are 12 Shiva temples there, and the Ganga is somewhere beyond here, right? So this is the Dakshineshwar temple, and she had built it, but then because she was not a high caste woman, she was not able to find any priest to uh, act, or anyone to find act as a priest in this temple, because all the priests they refused, because they said like this is a temple built by a low caste woman, and we don't want to be a priest in this temple. And she still the temple was not inaugurated, like the consecration had not happened because no priest was for it. And then she was very worried, she was very upset, she was talking to multiple people. And Ramkumar also was a priest in Calcutta. So someone approached him, and then he said there is a solution for it. She can donate the temple to her family guru, and then so now the entire temple would belong to a Brahmin. Then there will not be any problem for anyone to be a priest in that temple. So when Rani Rashmani heard about this solution, she was impressed at the brilliant solution of Ramkumar, and then she called for him. He went and met her, and then she said, "Yeah, this is fine. I'm okay to donate the temple to my Kulaguru." And then then she suggested, like, will you be the priest for the temple? Like, I'm pretty impressed with you. So he said okay, and then that has happened, and Ramkumar became the priest of the temple, and then the Gadadhar joined him, and then they saw, and initially Gadadhar, like he did not, he was very very orthodox. Even though this was a Kali temple, he cooked his own food. He did not take prasada from the temple also. He used to live alone in the temple compound and cooked his own food, and did all his Nitya Naimitika karmas, and he lived a very spiritual life. And when the Rani and her son-in-law, Mathur Babu, when they saw him, they were impressed. They said, like, wouldn't he also be a priest in the temple? And then he was helping, but then he was not really fully into it. And then when after Ramkumar passed away, they asked Gadadhar like to be the priest. He said like, no, I don't want to be the priest because taking care of the jewelry of the Lord is the duty of the priest, and I don't want to take up that responsibility. So I don't want to become the priest. And then Sri Ramakrishna's relative, uh, he came forward, Hriday, and he said, I will take care of the jewelry and the other parts of it. Let Gadadhar be the priest, do the priest part. So then that was agreeable to Rani Rashmani and Mathur Babu, and then that is what happened. So that is how Sri Ramakrishna became the priest of the Kali temple. And yeah, okay, these things we already covered. So he moved to Dakshineshwar in 1855, right? So, and now, as I told you, like Sri Ramakrishna was very, very truthful. Sticking to truth was, like, was his main thing. Like, and so suddenly a thought came to his mind. I'm doing this puja to Kali, and is she really there? So in his own words, is she Chinmayi or is she Mrinmayi? Is she really conscious or is she just clay? Right? Is she Chinmayi or Mrinmayi? This question came into his mind. And he being truthful, he being so doggedly holding on to truth, this was a conflict which he could not stand. Because if she was really alive, if she was conscious, there is no sign of consciousness. He is not seeing her alive. And if she was a Mrinmayi, then all the puja, everything that he has been doing and he is doing becomes a lie. So this conflict he could not stand. And he started praying, "Oh mother, are you there? If you are there, I want to see you." So this caught him like, very, very strongly. And he started becoming almost mad with this one idea that it's a conflict, right? He was so truthful, and this conflict was so great, and it was affecting him. So his just question was, "Are you real? Are you there? If you are there, I'm not able to see you." So and still he had to continue his duty as the priest. So that became a big problem for him because still he is not sure if she is there, and if she is not there, then he is telling a lie. His conduct is not truthful, and that is something which he could not bear. And he used to cry day and night. And in the evening, when the temple bells start ringing, he say, "One more day has gone, and still I don't know if she is there or not. I don't know if whatever I'm doing is truthful or not. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or not." Like, so this was his cry, "Mother, mother," like he used to cry. And one day, it became so unbearable for him that he took the sword which is there in the temple near the goddess, and he said, like, there is no point in me living with this unresolved conflict of falsehood. And he just took the sword and he swung it on his neck. Like, his seeking of the law of God was so strong, trying to figure out whether God exists or not. Is Kali there? And is she real? Why am I not able to see her if she is real? Now, this was so strong that he took the sword and he swung it over his neck. And that moment, Kali appeared and stopped him from cutting his own neck. And she said, I am here. I am true. And this was an assurance. Now, with this assurance that Kali is true, and after this, he continuously had vision of Kali. He saw her living, and when he was going and plucking flowers for the puja, Kali used to accompany him as a small girl, plucking flowers along with him. And she was accompanying him. And even when he was doing puja, he used to put his fingers uh, near her nose of the image, and he used to feel the moisture on his fingers. Like the Kali was alive even in the statue, and Kali was alive, moving around with him in his day-to-day activities. And constantly he used to be talking with her. He could see her, others could not see her, but he could see her. And he was living in the company of the Divine Mother, Kali, in various forms. Sometimes she will be a child helping him in the puja. Sometimes she will be a young woman standing on the terrace and like, in the wind, with her hair flowing with the wind. He used to watch from down. He used to watch her on the terrace, and he used to see her in the shrine. He used to sing for her, and constantly 24/7 he was living with Kali, with the vision of Kali. And others could not see, so others thought he was mad. But Rani Rashmani and Mathur Babu, they understood, and they uh, greatly they revered him. They used to call him as Baba, means father. And so that was what he was living in Dakshineshwar. And now looking at his madness, so they thought, okay, if we get him married, then he should be fine. And in 1859, so you should just look at the time scales, right? Like first vision of Kali was in 1856, and so he was living in a god intoxicated state. And in 1859, they when he visited Kamarpukur, they wanted to get him married, and they thought he will resist the marriage, but he himself told, go to Jairam Bati, and there he exactly gave the indications of which house. He said, the girl who is meant for me is living in that house. You go and uh, talk to them. And they went to Jairam Bati. They exactly found the house exactly as he had told. And they found the Sharadamani Devi, 5-year-old child. And they uh, they had the marriage done. And this was like 5 year. It was more like a engagement. It was a full marriage as per the rituals. But after marriage, the child goes back and lives with her parents till she is of teenage, and then when she comes back and joins her husband. That is the practice in those days. So the marriage happened, and she continued to live in Jayarambati with her parents. And Shri Ramakrishna Gadadhar, like he came to Dakshineshwar, and he continued his spiritual practices. And to whatever way, whatever knowledge, based on whatever his understanding, he was performing spiritual practices. And in 1861, nun Bhairavi Brahmani, so she came to Dakshineshwar, and she had a premonition that she had to train sadhaka, 2 or 3 sadhakas. She had a premonition that she had to train, and one of them was Sri Ramakrishna. She came here, and the moment she got down from the boat, Sri Ramakrishna saw, and he felt that okay, he had to learn from her, and then he asked Hriday to go and get her, and then she saw, and she identified him as her disciple whom she was supposed to train, and she lived in Dakshineshwar for quite some time, and she taught him all the Tantra sadhanas and the Vaishnava sadhanas, and she also saw that Sri Ramakrishna was the going through various spiritual experiences, and as mentioned in the scriptures, and she really understood or that such level of spiritual intensity is possible only in an incarnation, and she got a group of highly knowledgeable pandits, Gauri Pandit, Vaishnav Charan, and then she proclaimed that Sri Ramakrishna was an incarnation of God, and so they sat together, analyzed the scriptures of the various spiritual experiences mentioned in the scriptures, and then they saw that everything was there in Sri Ramakrishna, and the highly educated, highly experienced, highly revered group of pandits, that Sabha, they declared that Sri Ramakrishna was an incarnation. And Sri Ramakrishna, he was just sitting like a small child in front of them. And he only said, and occasionally he used to say, I also feel like this, I also feel like that. He used to keep telling them. And then finally, when they declared, he said, okay, fine, I'm happy that this is not a disease. That was his response. Of course, he fully realized what is the implication, but then he was so childlike and he was so humble. He was happy that this is not a disease, and he was recognized as an incarnation by the Sabha of learned pandits even at that time. But then, he never gave big importance to it and continued with his sadhana. And a few years later, a Vaishnava saint came who was a worshipper of Ramlala, and he had a small image of Rama, and he used to constantly have a vision of Rama. And Sri Ramakrishna also had the vision of that Rama, and then eventually that Ramlala wanted to stay with Sri Ramakrishna, and so he had a very lovely vision and relationship with the Ramlala. And through the help of Bhairavi Brahmani, he went through all different kinds of sadhana, whichever is mentioned in the scriptures, and then he was beyond all sexual distinctions, and he kind of he was already perfect. He was a born Siddha, and by following all the spiritual practices which are present in the scriptures, in the Tantric scriptures, in the Vaishnava scriptures, he basically revalidated all of them. So all these spiritual sadhanas, whatever was there, which was a tradition, which was a part of the tradition, so he revalidated all of them. That is why Swami Vivekananda used to say, he lived in his one life, he lived the 5,000 years of Indian spiritual heritage, the entire Indian spiritual heritage, which has been developed to a very beautiful and high extent for the past 5,000 years. Sri Ramakrishna, in one life, he went through everything, lived all the paths, became familiar with all the paths, and followed them and revalidated them and gave a mark of authenticity again, saying that yes, even in this age, all these spiritual practices are valid and they will bear fruit, as mentioned in the Falastuti of each of these spiritual practices. So he lived them and validated them, and still, his longing and his sadhana were continued, and finally his entire spiritual sadhana, the culmination of that was in 1864 when Totapuri Maharaj came to Dakshineshwar, and he was a Naga sadhu. He was a Vedantic monk from the Shankaracharya's Dashanami Sampradaya. He was a Puri Sampradaya, and he came, and when he saw Sri Ramakrishna, he saw that okay, he was a right disciple for Advaita Vedanta. So he said, like, I want to teach you Advaita. Are you interested? Sri Ramakrishna said, I will go and ask my mother and come. And he thought, okay, he will be asking his biological mother. But Sri Ramakrishna went to the temple and then asked mother. Mother said, yes, I have only sent him, like, go and learn from him. And he came back and said, my mother has agreed, I will learn from you. And he initiated Sri Ramakrishna into sannyasa. But Sri Ramakrishna never wore the Geruva cloth. He continued to wear white, even though he was a sannyasi. Right? So he got sannyasa from Totapuri, and Totapuri taught him to do meditation from the Advaitic point of view, Atma Vichara, and Sri Ramakrishna got into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and Totapuri was really astonished. Like, it took 40 years for him to perfect the meditation method and get into this level of meditation, which Sri Ramakrishna was so easily, he just got into it. Initially, there was some resistance. Initially, whenever he tried to meditate, the form of Kali came into his mind, and the Totapuri said, like, using the sword of knowledge, cut that form and get into the formless. And he did that, and without any more difficulty, he was able to go beyond the form and get into the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And he was there in that state for a long time, for 3 days. And then after that, with great difficulty, Totapuri brought him back to consciousness. And then Totapuri, he thought he will just live here for a few days and go away. But then Totapuri stayed in Dakshineshwar for almost 10 months. And then finally, Totapuri also got his lesson. He never accepted Maya. And by Sri Ramakrishna's company and an intervention, a divine intervention by Mother, Totapuri Maharaj he had to accept Maya. Like, what happened was, so Totapuri Maharaj was he was a Naga sannyasi, never lived under any roof. He always used to live only in the open, and very, very strict sadhu, and very strongly built, rugged body, and always Naga sadhu. And so it happened that after a few months, like, he developed stomachache, and like, it was so severe that he could not forget his body and meditate. And then finally, when he realized that because of this bodily condition, he is not able to meditate, he thought, like, what is the point in living anymore? And anyway, like, he had attained the so this body, he could just cast it off like a worn garment, no problem. So he went and he wanted to just give up his body in the Ganga, and he entered the Ganga, and he just walked into the Ganga, and he reached the other end of the Ganga. And then he again said, what is this? Like, and Ganga in Calcutta is pretty huge because it's almost where it is going to join the sea, right? So, and then he again tried to get back into the Ganga, and he was back at this shore, again back in Dakshineshwar, but could not drown. And that is when he realized that even if he wants to give up the body, he cannot, unless it is the will of the Saguna Brahman, Maya, along with Ishvara. And so the Saguna Brahman, which he had rejected and gone beyond to realize the Nirguna Brahman, he had to accept it back. And that was as long as this body is there, as long as you live in this phenomenal world, you have to accept Saguna Brahman also. That was a lesson which Totapuri Maharaj learned, and soon after this, he left Dakshineshwar. And after that, like people were able to trace him back in Orissa. In Puri, he lived, and then he passed away there. Though like doesn't occur anymore in Shri Ramakrishna's life, but Todapuri Maharaj left after 10 months staying in Dakshineshwar. Usually he stays not more than 3 days in any place. That was the way he had lived all through his life. And so now that was the culmination of the entire sadhana which Sri Ramakrishna did as sadhana. Now, after that, he continued to do various things. He used to follow various things, more like, more out of curiosity, but not to attain anything. So whatever he had done so far was to attain the highest. And by the Advaita sadhana, he had attained the highest, and the full realization he attained, and he continued to live in Dakshineshwar and do various sadhanas. So you can see the years. So this is 1864, right? And then after that, like almost 8 years, he continued, and then he was living in spiritually highly exalted state. And when the news again, people said he is mad, and so it went, and the news reached Jairambati also, and everyone. And by this time, Sharada Devi, she was 18 years old, right? Like, see, when when they were married, right, in 1859, she was 5 years old. So now it is 1872. So she was around 18 years old, and she was worried when everyone said, Sri Ramakrishna, your husband is mad in Dakshineshwar. Now she felt that this is a time when she had to be with him to help him. And she felt that she wanted to be with her husband, and her father took her to Dakshineshwar. They came, and she, not being used to walking such long distances over several days, she fell ill, and when she came to Dakshineshwar, people were worried how he will accept her, and he accepted her very smoothly with great reverence and full of love, and he ensured treatment for her because she was very sick by the time she came here. And in fact, like the way she came from Jairambati to Dakshineshwar itself is a beautiful journey. Like on the way, like she met a robber. Like she was she could not walk fast, so the rest of the party went ahead. And late into the night, she was in the middle of the forest, and then there was a robber and his wife who were there, and she addressed him as father, and then said, like, I'm lost, can you help me? And then, in spite of being a robber and the thing, like, he took great care of her, and then took her back to her party, and then left her there. And also on the way, she became very sick, and then couldn't proceed further at all. And then she stayed in one temple where Kali came and consoled her, saying, like, don't worry, like, you will get okay, and you will reach your husband. And then she asked, who are you? And she said, I'm your sister. And so finally, when she came to Dakshineshwar, this very same goddess who nursed her and consoled her was none but the Dakshineshwar Kali. So a lot of visions and interesting things happened. And finally, Holy Mother reached Dakshineshwar, and Sri Ramakrishna welcomed her and arranged for her treatment, and she came back to normal health, and Holy Mother's father was happy, and then he left. And now she and Sri Ramakrishna, he asked her, like, see, I'm obliged to you by duty. Now, if you want me to drag me down and lead a life of a householder as a husband to you. I have no option but to accept it. I'm duty bound for that. And then she said, like, no, why should I bring you down? I have come here to help you. I have not come here to live a household life with you. I am here to help you in your spiritual life, and I am here to learn from you and continue your spiritual life. And she asked him, how do you look upon me? And he said, my mother, biological mother who lives in the Nahabat, the mother, the divine mother who is there in the Dakshineshwar temple, and you, I see all three of you as the same. So that was his attitude. And so they started living. She used to live in the Nahabat. The picture you can see here, that is the Nahabat, where initially when Sri Ramakrishna's mother was there, his mother used to stay below, and she used to stay in the first floor. And this is Sri Ramakrishna's room here. And later, when after Sri Ramakrishna's mother's passing away, Holy Mother lived down, and so she used to live in this place, and he used to live here. And this is how they lived here, and she became his first disciple and learned from him all things, household duties, and also spiritual knowledge, everything. And during the Palaharni Kali Puja day, like he did Shodashi Puja, so where a real woman is kept as the goddess is invoked in a girl or in a woman and worshipped. So he invoked goddess into Sharda Devi, and he worshipped her, worshipped the divine mother in her form, and he offered his Japamala at her feet. And even today in the Ramakrishna Mat, we sing Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sharvartha Sadike Sharanye Devi Narayani Namostute. So that three stanzas are sung in for Holy Mother every day for Arati in the Ramakrishna Mat, celebrating the Shodasi Puja, because Sri Ramakrishna worshipped Sharada Devi using those stotras during the Shodashi Puja. So every day we celebrate and we remember, recollect, and worship Sharada Devi with the same three stotras with which Sri Ramakrishna himself worshipped Sharada Devi. So it's a very, very significant event. And this marked the culmination of Sri Ramakrishna's sadhana. He offered all the fruits of his sadhana, everything at the feet of Holy Mother, and invoked the Divine Mother into her, and permanently, of course, right from birth, Sri Sharada Devi also is a divine incarnation. Right from her childhood, it is full of signs and indications of her divine nature. And this was another culmination where Sri Ramakrishna established Holy Mother as the mother for this world. So a very significant event. And so after that, whatever Sri Ramakrishna lived was more like a retired life for him. He has achieved everything in life and offered into Holy Mother and to the son. Then after that, his entire, from the sadhana part, he's moved to the teacher role. So the Shodashi Puja is the bridge between the sadhana phase of Sri Ramakrishna's life to the Guru phase of Shri Ramakrishna's life. So yesterday we talked about Keshav Chandra Sen, who was a very, very prominent Brahmo leader, and he met him, and Keshav was very impressed with Shri Ramakrishna, and he wrote about Shri Ramakrishna in his magazines and articles, and wrote several articles and used to talk about Shri Ramakrishna in meetings. And that way the Calcutta people came to know about Shri Ramakrishna very well. And because a lot of young college students, they were all attracted to Keshav Chandra Sen and Brahma Samaj, all of them started visiting Shri Ramakrishna at Dakshineshwar. So that way, Keshav Chandra Sen was a very, very important role, played an important role to bring the devotees of Shri Ramakrishna, both household disciples and monastic disciples of Shri Ramakrishna. Most of them came through Brahmo Samaj to Shri Ramakrishna, and most of them came to know about Shri Ramakrishna because Keshav Chandra Sen used to talk about him and write about him in Brahmo Samaj. And as his name started becoming more popular, and he felt that Shri Ramakrishna felt that still it was just random disciples, random people who are interested in spiritual life coming and talking and learning, that still it was not a strong order was not forming, and he yearned for disciples, and he used to cry from, because he had spiritual visions that very good spiritual disciples will come and to him, and he will be their guru, and he will be able to pass on all his spiritual realizations and all his spiritual whatever he has acquired, he will be able to pass it on to them. He had those he had the premonition, but then whomever was coming, whomever he was interacting with, he did not find those set of people here, and he used to long for them, and he used to cry from the top of the from the terrace of the building. And but he had already seen, because even in 1863, when Swami Vivekananda was born, at that time, actually he saw a light descending into the Shimulia part of Calcutta, where Swamiji's house was there, and he recognized it, and he told the people around him, see that star which is descending there, like my disciple is being born. He was exactly at that time, he had pointed out to the people around him, and told that my disciple is born there. So he was waiting for them. He knew they were there in Calcutta, but none of them were here. So he was longing for them, waiting for them, praying for them. And that was how things were. And it is very important that these complementary beings, right, like a person like Shri Ramakrishna, they are so full of sattva and such a purity of high spiritual nature, that they need some other people who have more rajas to be able to act as a bridge between them and the common human beings in the society. So this can be seen in almost all the incarnations. So Shri Ramakrishna was too pure and too high and too sattvic that the common society can directly get benefited from him. So it was needed a group of people who are in both the world, and also who are pure enough to interact or transact with Sri Ramakrishna kind of people. So that was needed, and that is what came out as the direct disciples of Shri Ramakrishna, especially the monastic disciples of Shri Ramakrishna. So we'll stop here and we will continue next week. It's like amazing, like it is an unbelievable life, Shri Krishna's life, and one side is his great spiritual attainments and absolutely free from anything human, all, and he is the perfect human being, like free from all human shortcomings, like the human shortcomings normally, like lust, greed, anger, ego, arrogance, jealousy, desire. He was completely free from all of them, absolutely untouched by kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, and fully aware of his spiritual nature, in full communion with Ishvara, both in Nirguna form and Saguna form. And 24/7, his only thought was God, nothing else. And an impeccable life, and unimaginably pure, and at the same time full of love, grace, compassion for human beings. With all these high qualities, he never looked down upon anyone at all. Like everyone was able to talk to him. He spoke with everyone as if they were his equals only. In no transaction, right from a boatman or a servant to Keshav Chandra Sen or anyone, like no one felt inferior in his presence. Now that is the beauty of people like Shri Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharishi, Swamiji. Like even though they are so great, they never let anyone feel inferior in their presence. The same thing you can see in the life of Swamiji also, in the life of Ramana Maharishi also, and the same thing in Shri Ramakrishna's life also. Even the simplest of person, when they go and transact with them, this person will never feel inferior in their presence. Now, that is the kind of saulabhya by which they interact with people. They give full respect and dignity with everyone they interact with. Now, that was like the greatness of all these great people, right? You can see it even in the life of Rama, in the life of Krishna, in the life of Ramana Maharishi, in the life of Shri Ramakrishna, Swamiji. Like everyone felt fully at peace without any inferiority complex in their presence. Now, that is a remarkable nature of these people, which we need to learn, right, from them. So I think we'll stop here and we will continue in the next class, God willing, next Wednesday. So, yeah. Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukhaswarupaya Swami Ne Tapaharine. Jai Ram Krishna.